In 2011, I attended the District Convention of Jehovah's Witnesses, where I received a book, a wonderful glossy handbook for dealing with the problems that I faced every day as a teen. That book was called Questions Young People Ask, Answers That Work, but we called it Young People Ask. And to read this book as, a whole-ass adult, it is... wow. It's quite the fever dream. This is 324 pages of indoctrination and sexual repression meant to reinforce black and white thinking and totally assimilate young people into the culture of this organization. In today's video, I'm going to share with you some of the most shocking things that I found when I decided to revisit this publication. So stay tuned and come along with me down this nightmare trek down memory lane.
Can I get your name and where you're from, if you don't mind?
I'm Kai.
Kai, can I get spelling for you?
Straight out of Dogtown, K-A-I.
Hola Chula, thank you so much for clicking onto this video, and if you are new here, well then hi, hello, my name is Kai. Today we are going to be reacting to Young People Ask, a propaganda workbook made especially for JW teens and young adults. Before we jump into this video, do not forget to like and subscribe to this channel for more content just like this. We'll start our discussion off with chapter 23, which is titled, How Can I Explain the Bible's View of Homosexuality? And we can see the picture. There's two women that are, holding each other. It depicts a scenario here right at the start of the chapter saying the crowd is in a frenzy at, these two popular actresses engaging in a passionate kiss. The gays call it a triumph. And yes, for as long as LGBTQ folks have had to hide in shadow and in shame, for someone to be able to publicly announce their sexuality, to have a public display of, their sexuality in front of millions of people on live broadcast television is absolutely a triumph. And I just know that this is shade at Britney Spears and Madonna for the time that they kissed at the VMAs or whatever. They'll have little, excerpts and quotes and experiences from people that you can assume are also Jehovah's Witness youth. You can see Daniel, totally a real person, has been noted as saying that when he was in high school, even the straights thought that there was something sus about you if you were prejudiced against the homosexuals. Even the straights. Like, oh my God, sweetie, baby, it's called being an ally. What are you talking about? Of course, this is a fundamentalist organization that we're talking about, so they employ the cliche of, love the sinner but hate the sin, as if that's supposed to really mean something, as if that's supposed to be like the hallmark of genuine Christianity. When you really think about it, like what you're really saying when you're saying, I don't hate gay people, I just hate homosexuality, it's like that hatred has to come from someplace. And so if you're not, hating the person, but you're hating like a core part of their identity, it's kind of the same thing. It doesn't really mean anything. And also it's a little bit messed up to say, sit there and say, oh, well, you're such a sinner, you're just such a filthy, lowly sinner. But I love you anyway, because I'm so gracious and I'm just such a good Christian that I love you regardless of your horrible, awful sins. Throughout this whole book, you'll find lessons on how to share your beliefs, how to talk about your beliefs, and it gives like little workbook assignments you can write in your responses what you would say if you were in this situation. Like I said, it's a whole little workbook. But basically, their proselytizing advice for this section is to compare homosexuality to smoking cigarettes. Okay, they say if, you might not have any problem with smoking cigarettes, but I find the very idea of it repugnant. So if we're supposed to be taking out, just replace cigarettes for homosexuality, we're saying that we find the very idea of homosexuality repugnant. But we don't hate gay people. No, just, you're disgusting. Your lifestyle is disgusting, but we don't hate you. No. It's not what we're saying at all. And the comparison between, someone smoking a cigarette, is it a habit? Is it an addiction? Is it ridiculously hard to stop? Like, nicotine is one of the most addictive substances that we know. But you can. If there's medications you can take, there's smoking cessation programs that you can get involved in. Like, there are ways to stop smoking cigarettes. But you can't really equate that to someone being gay or being lesbian or being trans or being bi. They're not the same thing. No one is born, like, smoking cigarettes. People are legitimately born gay. It's part of who they are. It's part of their identity, part of their biology. It's part of what makes them them. Or for you to, like, equate it to something like smoking cigarettes, where you could just pick that up and put that down as is necessary throughout your lifetime, you can't really do that with your sexuality. We turn the page, it brings up the question, well, what about bisexuality? And it gives this experience of two young girls who met, who began a friendship, over texting. And as time went on, the girls started to develop emotional, like, romantic feelings for each other, which is completely normal to, build these kind of relationships with your peers, to grow close to someone and start to have emotional connections to them, whether those be platonic or romantic. It later discredits these instances of same-sex attraction by boiling it all down to raging hormones during puberty that dissipate after maturation. I just think it's really funny because later in this same section, they kind of cop out and say that the Bible doesn't really comment on the biology of homosexuals. But then it later turns around and uses that same biology to say that, people might go through periods of their life where they think that they're attracted to the same sex. But it goes away. And if you are strong enough, you can resist the desire to do wrong actions, no matter what they are. And this is just totally and completely by erasure. Lots of people feel attraction to the opposite sex and the same sex or whatever. A lot of people have attraction to both sexes. Biology can neither confirm nor deny that gay people are just inherently the way that they are from their birth. But it can also explain away why sometimes you feel attracted to, the same sex. Which is it? You have to pick one. It can't be that the biology works out in your favor in this case and not in any of the others. Are Jehovah's Witnesses sending their kids to conversion therapy camp? No. But are their ideas about homosexuality very demoralizing, disrespectful, and just probably rude? Yes, absolutely. Moving on to chapter 24. Will sex improve our relationship? And here we see this cute couple under the moonlight in the car. He's caressing her face very amorously. And it says, Heather has been seeing Mike for only 2 months, but she feels as if she's known him forever. They text constantly, talk on the phone for hours, and even finish each other's sentences. But tonight, as they sit alone in a parked car under the moonlight, Mike wants more than a conversation. She doesn't want to go further, but she also doesn't want to lose Mike. She tells herself, Mike and I are in love. First of all, false. No unmarried Jehovah's Witness couple is going to be alone in a parked car, in a house, with a box, with a mouse. No way, sweetie. Absolutely no way. All unmarried Jehovah's Witness couples are required to have a chaperone, even if it's just your kid sister who you make play Mario Kart by themselves and promise that you'll come out and play with them after you're done napping. And of course, this organization is pro-abstinence only. They list some rude awakenings, and the one that definitely caught my eye was number 3. Where it noted that many boys feel less attracted to a woman after she's given in to their advances, whatever that's supposed to mean, and that they would never marry a girl who they've already had sex with. It's just really poignant to me to hear some of these attitudes towards sex, because as a sex worker, I feel like I possess the ability to see it in many different lights, right? In many different ways. There's, the intimacy that I experience with my partners in my everyday life, and there's the intimacy that I monetize and that I put out there for other people's enjoyment or whatever the case may be. And those things look and feel differently emotionally. They don't take away from each other either. Monetizing sex didn't make, the sex that I have in the rest of my life any less great. It's really great. Monetizing sex did not make it in my personal life any less fulfilling or any less meaningful. And the sex that I'm having now won't distract or won't take away from the greatness and the fulfillment that will be the sex that I have with my future husband. Why? Because sex honestly isn't everything that it's cracked up to be. Of course, it's great and it feels really good. But it's really more about honestly what you put into it. What I mean when I say that is that two people who are in love will have sex like two people who are in love, whether they've been issued a marriage certificate or not. Sex doesn't equal love, but it doesn't have to. It can be an avenue in which you express the love that you have for another person, but it won't build a relationship for you. It's okay to have sex and it's okay to stay abstinent, but ultimately, above all, you have to be safe. You have to be smart, use protection, get tested frequently if you are sexually active. You're doing yourself a disservice by not taking those precautions, because the best sex is between enthusiastic and consenting adults who are capable of understanding all the ramifications that do come with having sex. Chapter 25, How Do I Conquer the Habit of Masturbation? Ooh, this section literally says, that masturbation, this video is not monetized, literally says that masturbation makes you a more self-centered person because you are literally immersing yourself into your own bodily sensations. Okay. Also causes you to see members of the opposite sex as nothing but objects and tools for self-gratification. It makes you selfish and makes gratifying sexual relations in the context of marriage difficult to achieve. Instead, they urge you to practice self-control. It goes on to say that those who masturbate are often plagued by this horrible feeling of guilt, and implying that if you don't feel guilty, you should. It says that masturbation is an unclean action, but they make sprays and washes now for it, so it can't be that unclean. Any weak person can give in to their sexual desire, but it takes a real man or woman to resist their urges even when they are in private. So what's their advice? Just don't think about it. Examine your entertainment choices carefully to make sure that you're not accidentally giving yourself an opportunity to feel any sort of arousal. Sexuality is such a natural part of humanity, and it's normal for you to start feeling or to start to develop those feelings, as you are becoming a teenager or a young adult, you start to acquire those natural, normal desires that everyone feels. I am so pro flicking your bean. I think it's healthy, I think it's normal, and I think it teaches you about your body and can even help you have more fulfilling relations as, when you're with a partner or, moving forward, because you understand what feels good and how it's supposed to feel. It's just really frustrating because a religion who's anti-masturbation and pro-abstinence just kind of leads to a lot of stunted development. Whether directly or indirectly, they are equating this physical state of virginity with self-worth. And that idea can lead to repression that has both emotional and physical consequences. My reasoning in examining these 3 chapters is because I think it sort of establishes a cycle that the young Jehovah's Witness person might end up going through. You're not able to fulfill your own desires. You're not supposed to seek fulfillment from other people outside of the context of marriage. And these two, active, cutting off of a natural emotion or natural desire that you have can lead you to becoming a more hateful and more bigoted person down the line against people in the LGBTQ community, or just other people who are different or who experience different lifestyles than you do, or have different walks of life than you do. If you happen to be a young Jehovah's Witness person watching this video, then I just want to tell you that virginity is a social construct, and your self-worth is not determined on whether or not you've ever choked your chicken. If you are going to have sex, please remember to be safe and use protection and get tested frequently. Sex doesn't equal love, but it can express your love. Love yourself enough to be smart and safe if you are having casual sex. So yeah, that was just my thought, just my opinion, and just my video. So if you like this video, then you can leave it a like, and if you like me, then you can subscribe to this channel where I will be posting more videos talking about whatever I want, whenever I want, because this is my channel, and that's what we do here. So subscribe! And as always, chulas, I hope that you are having a wonderful, beautiful, amazing rest of your day. Bye, chulas!